when I was the unhealed version, before I shattered my limiting beliefs and healed all those insecurities, I could not walk away. I mean, it took a lot. I could, but it took way more than it should have for me to walk away. Way more. I put up with way too much shit. I allowed people to be rude, disrespectful, cheat on me, hurt me, abuse me, take advantage of me, whatever it was. And I always just thought that it was my fault, or they didn't mean to. They were having a bad day. It'll get better. Maybe if I'd have done something different or better. I had those thoughts go through my mind. And many of you probably do or have as well. And once I got, into the healing and shattering my limiting beliefs, wow, that's when I realized I never, ever, ever, ever will put up with anything again. And I've said that before, right? You get out of a bad relationship or toxic friendship and you're like, I'll never put up with that shit again. But then you do, right? Over and over. This was different. I felt something inside I'd never felt before. I was like, no. Hello, how are you doing today? Thanks for tuning into my show. Janna here. Glad you could join me. I appreciate each and every one of you just for taking time out of your day to listen to me or to watch me. It really does mean a lot. And so I just want to say thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. How do you quickly and quietly walk away from toxic relationships? How do you get confidence to just walk away? You hear people talk about it, but how do you do it? It's definitely one of those things that's easier said than done. And I know for myself, I used to struggle with that big time. I really, really did. And, I might sound like a broken record, with every episode I say, just like I wrote in my book, or shattering limiting beliefs, or once you heal yourself. But my friends, that is the key to living the life you dream of. It is the key to ultimate freedom. So what I'm going to say is that when I was the unhealed version, before I shattered my limiting beliefs and healed all those insecurities, I could not walk away. I mean, it took a lot. I could, but it took way more than it should have for me to walk away. Way more. I put up with way too much shit. I allowed people to be rude, disrespectful, cheat on me, hurt me, abuse me, take advantage of me, whatever it was. And I always just thought that it was my fault, or they didn't mean to. They were having a bad day. It'll get better. Maybe if I'd have done something different or better. I had those thoughts go through my mind. And many of you probably do or have as well. And once I got, into the healing and shattering my limiting beliefs, wow, that's when I realized I never, ever, ever, ever will put up with anything again. And I've said that before, right? You get out of a bad relationship or toxic friendship and you're like, I'll never put up with that shit again. But then you do, right? Over and over. This was different. I felt something inside I'd never felt before. I was like, no, I'll never do it again, because what was different is when I healed, I then had boundaries. And boundaries are what protect you and keep you from old patterns and behaviors, for putting up with less than, right? And it doesn't matter, you say that you attract what you are. And I've talked about it before. When you're toxic, you attract toxic people. That's true. So you're like, well, Janna, if you've healed, then how are you still attracting toxic people then? That doesn't make sense. I get it, but it still happens. It's not as often, but here's the thing. At the beginning of every relationship and friendship, it's what I call the honeymoon phase, right? You both of you and that new friend, new partner, whatever it is, you're your best versions of each other, of yourself for each other. And rightfully so, right? Now, if you're not a narcissist, you're your best version of yourself because What are you going to share with this person you just met, right? Are you going to just start bitching and complaining and grabbing about your problems, nagging about people they don't know, you know, complaining about your life that they don't even quite understand yet in the ins and outs? You don't have anything to complain about from them because they're showing you their best version, right? But what happens is if we start to settle into relationships and friendships, you get to know one another, you get comfortable around each other, your lives become intertwined, and you're able to have different conversations, let the guard down a little bit. You start to feel safe and comfortable, as you should. But I feel like when that happens and you become more secure in that, and like, this is my person or this is my new good friend, whatever it is, we let our guard down a little bit, but we also get comfortable in the sense of they're in our lives. So I don't have to be my best self. And it's not that you have the thought of, I don't need to be my best self anymore, unless you're a narcissist. Now, if you're a narcissist, it's what I call the love bombing phase. And you literally are just trying to get to know them so you can then later on use their past against them, right? Their past becomes your playground if you're a narcissist. But if you're not a narcissist, it's just normal, right? You get to know them. They get to know you. You tell them your boundaries. You tell them things that you can never put up with and you will never put up with again. You tell them your past heartaches, your trauma. You really start to get to know each other. And as they're listening to you, they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I can't believe someone did that to you." Or, "I would never do you that way. Like, I would never treat you that way, like, ever." Or, "You let me know if I do something that bothers you because I want to make sure that I don't. I want to keep you happy. I want you to tell me. Please tell me." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is my person. This is it. This is my new best friend. This is my new husband, my new wife, whatever." But the time comes, life happens, and they don't keep those promises. Not intentional, but maybe you triggered them. Maybe they have a defense mechanism that you weren't aware of because you don't see the defense mechanisms. You don't see the insecurities. You don't see those inner wounds, from childhood and growing up that create the defense mechanisms. You don't see them in the beginning. But once you get to know that person, they get to know you, and you start to learn more about one another as you should. Maybe there's some healed versions of you that shine a light on their insecurities and their unhealed wounds, and you trigger them a little bit, or vice versa. And some of those promises that you made in the beginning, or that they made you about, "I would never do you this way. Let me know. This is how we're going to handle arguments," or because they're going to happen. But those promises aren't kept. Why? Because you each got comfortable. One or both of you are triggered now. And maybe it's your first argument. Maybe it's your first disagreement. My friends, the mistake that I've made before, and I'm telling you right now, this is the mistake to not make, is that first time boundaries are crossed, the first time they cross the line, the first time they don't keep that promise, that is when you must enforce and keep and make sure they're well aware of your boundaries. The first time. They don't get to slide, right? They don't get to skip a base. Doesn't happen. If you allow them to get away with it the first time and just think like, okay, they didn't mean to do it, and like, you don't really want to argue with them, and you told them like, "Hey, that hurt my feelings." You're like, "Okay, I'll never do it again." And you're just like, okay, that's not keeping the boundary. That's allowing it to happen, giving them a free pass. And they realize, maybe not on purpose, like in a vindictive way, but they realize internally, subconsciously, there's not a boundary there. I can get away with that. Again, unless they're a narcissist, it's not something they're trying to be vindictive about. You must enforce your boundaries the first time. If you do it the first time, I guarantee you, if that person's legit and they're true and good and honest, they will learn their fucking lesson and it won't happen again. So how do you quickly, confidently, quietly walk away? You do it by holding your standards high, hold your head high, and you keep your boundaries. You say, "You know what? This is a trigger for me because it's something that I told you about in the beginning. I was pretty clear that could not stand for this, and you know, as much as I want to think you won't do this again, I've done that too many times in my past. And I know I made you aware of that. So I need some space. I need space. I really don't know where I want to go from here because I'm really caught off guard. And so I just need some space right now. I need to see how I feel. And that's it. And you separate if hopefully you're not living together at this point, but that's it. The relationship is on halt. It stops. It ends. There's no more talking. There's no more being together, living together. That's it. And by the way, that's not ghosting. Ghosting would just be not saying any of that and saying, I don't know if I'm okay with this. I told you what my boundaries were, told you this one's really important and big, and I'm not comfortable. So I need time apart. That's not ghosting. Ghosting doesn't announce it, right? They just leave for it. Also, it's for no reason at all. It's not because you actually did something disrespectful. It's because you don't fucking know why. Okay. So don't get that confused. But when I say confidently walk away, that's what I mean. And that's how you do it. You got to do it the first fucking time someone crosses the boundary that you set in the beginning. If for some reason you didn't set it, that's on you, right? But it's also on you that first time to say, yeah, so I don't know if I told you or not, but this has happened to me before. You tell them the story and then you say, and I'm really triggered right now. I need some space. Tell it to them right then and there, but you don't let it pass. It doesn't pass because if you let it pass, the next time it happens, and then you try to do something about it, not only is it going to be harder, your point doesn't come through quite the same. Now, I said to walk away. It's up to you if you choose to resume this relationship or friendship, but you do walk away. You walk away and you don't talk or do anything for at least a week. At least a week, right? If they start calling and texting like crazy, you respond to a text, not answering a phone, and you just say one time only, never again more than once. Say I really need space right now and I really appreciate you giving that to me and I'm not going to be responding to any more because I really need my space. And that's what you do. It's the same whether it's a friendship, it's a romantic relationship, whatever it is. You do it the first time. And it's hard, right? I have 3 kids. It's hard for me to tell my kids if you do that again, this is what's going to happen. Guess what? They do it again. And then I don't follow up on my, if you do it again, this is what's going to happen part. Any of you parents who are listening are probably like, yeah, it's frustrating sometimes. Sometimes I tell my kids, like, I'm at my 7th or 10th time of like telling you, and you're on your 8th or 11th chance here. Okay. I realized in parenting years back, before my youngest was born, I realized that's my fault. The reason my kids constantly don't listen the first time, the second time, or the third fucking time is because I am the one that trained their brains that mommy gives at least 5 to 10 chances. I realized that and I was like, you know what? I can't get mad at them. And it made it harder for me to enforce the consequences after the first time they didn't listen. It was hard for them because they weren't used to it and they thought like, whoa, mommy's mean. Like, what the heck? Like, where's my 5th and 10th chance over here? But it was really hard for me. I did not like it. It made me feel guilty, like I was a mean mom. I had to tell myself I'm not. What am I doing for my kids and their future if there's somebody else watching them, a babysitter at school when they're old enough to work one day? How am I helping them by letting them know and teaching them you don't need to listen the first time? You don't need to be respectful until, I don't know, the 7th chance? Do you see what I'm saying? It's just like that with anything. If you let something in a relationship or friendship that was disrespectful or crossed the line that you laid out well in advance, or maybe you forgot to, because when it happened, you're just like, whoa, that's when you do it right there. These are my boundaries. You crossed it. You didn't know you were, but let's be honest. You know what you did or what you said. It was disrespectful to begin with, but it really, really hit a nerve with me. If you let it pass, my friends, you give them that free pass, you're going to be like how I was in parenting, where next thing you know, they're at their 5th or 7th or 10th chance, and I still haven't followed through with the consequence. It was harder and harder for me to follow through. And it was really hard for me when I finally said enough. I think it was when I got pregnant with my third kid because I realized like I can't anymore. This is going to be a zoo around here and I have to have my children listen. It was hard, but guess what? They learned it. They learned it pretty fast. They didn't like that. If the person that you have to reinforce your boundaries with, first of all, let me say something really quick. If what they do is fucking just absolutely red flag, disrespectful, you walk away and you shut the door and that's it forever. I'm talking about something that's not red flag, that's not a means for ending the relationship entirely. Okay? It was rude and it was mean, but it was not a red flag. Like it was like not breaking up material. So obviously, if it's breaking up material, and we all know what that is, this is you just fucking walk away for good. So if you have to walk away and ask for some space in a relationship, you confidently do it knowing that if you do want this relationship to work and to last and to be the best it can be, you're going to have to walk away and set those boundaries. It also is going to give that person a chance to show their true colors and how they feel about you. Because if they really love you and they really want you and they realize what they did, they're going to fight for you. They're going to respect you, give you the space that you need, but they're also going to learn their lesson and they're going to fight for you. If they can easily just not give a shit and move on and they don't fight for you and they definitely can't give you your space, well, that is the answer that you need. It's an opportunity for you to see and decide, is this relationship or friendship really for me and what I thought it was? So don't feel guilty for doing it. That person is the one that fucked up. We can no longer feel guilty for other people's fuck ups. Okay? So walk away with confidence knowing you are respecting yourself, you're showing your children, and you're letting them know this isn't going to fly, buddy. All right. Let me know what you think. Thank you all. Send me an email, DM me on Instagram. Let me know if you have any questions or any stories you want to share. Okay. Thanks.